Welcome to AARP Connecticut in your community. Hi, I'm Elaine Warner. I'm your host for today's program. I am on staff with the AARP Connecticut nonprofit statewide office, where we do advocacy and community outreach. We come to you in your local community with AARP's purpose in mind, and that is to empower you to choose how you live as you age. And with that purpose in mind, today's show is titled Let's Go Virtual with AARP Connecticut. Today, we hope to empower you with the ability to experience a variety of virtual activities and events to hopefully enhance your life, many of which we like to call fun with purpose, and many of which are for all ages. So let's get started. I'd like to introduce our guest today. Welcome to our State Director for AARP Connecticut, Nora Duncan. Welcome, Nora.
Thank you, Elaine. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And Nora, we're going to get to all the ton of activities that AARP Connecticut is offering virtually. But first, if you could just, for our viewer, I said you were the State Director of AARP Connecticut, briefly describe your role. What do you do?
So at the state office, every state in the Union, plus the Virgin Islands, Washington, D.C., and Puerto Rico have a state office. That state office is, I don't want to call it like the branch of the bank, but in some ways it is, right? It's the localized version of our national social mission. And so, you mentioned a little bit, but we are a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization with a membership. We are a social mission organization. And here in Connecticut, what that boils down to is that we are making sure that we are out there doing education and outreach on important topics with a little fun, and that we are at the state, local, and federal levels working on advocacy issues that impact age 50 plus and their families. And with that comes a team of amazing volunteers who help us at the state office in executing those goals, whether it be, in person when we're in person, virtually, at the state capitol, working with our federal delegation, and the like. And that's on behalf of our 600,000 members here in Connecticut and their families. And, everybody really. I mean, the things we work on aren't just about our members, they're also about our members' neighbors and people who are planning to live, age, and retire in Connecticut. We all use the healthcare system, right? We all use our open spaces, our public spaces, and we all should have access to our General Assembly and our lawmakers. And so that's all part of what we do here. We just, on behalf of the 50 plus and their families is our main goal. And but we invite people to participate with us at all levels.
Right. So any age person in the household that's watching now, don't run away. We're going to show you some great activities for everybody in the room. Nora, I remember years ago when my parents joined AARP, and they, they'd whip out that AARP card for their favorite breakfast place. Or I would see them pull it out if they were going to rent a car or they were going to book a hotel. And now, I'm 20 years a member of AARP. But what do you think people think of initially when they think of AARP and what AARP represents?
Well, I think, they think of retirement. And I do want them to think about retirement, but I want them to think about planning for retirement. I think they think about insurance products, because we do have relationships with our other side of the shop. And, that's a lot of the advertising that people see. What I don't know that they necessarily think about is all of our fun events and all of the time we spend in community, in libraries and community centers, in our colleges around Connecticut and the nation. But that's what I want them to think about, so it's our job at the state office to help people understand what we really do. So a show like this helps, and then being out in those communities. If you're flipping through your town's website looking for something related to livable communities, you might run across AARP Connecticut volunteers presenting our Road to Livability program at the library, for instance. And those kind of things start to connect the dots for folks. So it changes the mindset of what we are, from probably a false perception on behalf of many to the reality. I think a lot of times when we're working with college students or we have a retirement savings program that we've been advocating for that's finally kicking off for years, we're working, trying to access 25-year-olds because we want them to understand that there's going to be a program that they can save for retirement. And they think of, AARP and know, oh, that's that magazine that shows up at my parents' house. And, that may be true, but that magazine is actually pretty cool. Read it. You'll probably like it.
Well, and on that note, I opened the show with talking about our activities, calling them fun with purpose. And we're going to jump in just a moment to the actual activities, Nora. But if I were to ask you fun with purpose, what does that mean exactly?
Listen, I said we are a social mission organization. So we have to be out there regarding our social mission when we are engaging with people in the community. But that, we call it sugar medicine a lot of times too, right? So we may have to talk about a serious topic or, a topic that we'd all prefer that we didn't really have to deal with sometimes. But there's no reason for it to have to be in a boring setting or for it to be just like a lecture, right? We want to be interactive. We want to have fun with our local nonprofit offerings. We want to be in places that people want to be in and that they naturally gather in, because that's sometimes obviously when we set up an event, Elena, our volunteers set up an event or we join a community for something, we're doing it because we've been invited or because it's an awesome place where people gather. Sometimes we're someplace and, when we were in person, we'd invite somebody into, the local aquarium. So to come in and join us for a discounted offering there, a free day, but we're going to talk to them about what we do. But then we're also going to get the passersby, so they get a little bit of information about what we do. So an outreach event to our members becomes an outreach event to a community who is gathering in places that are important to people in Connecticut. So, but I've got to have that social mission focus. And so that's, the purpose, or that's why we're there. But the fun is how we're there.
Right. And as you say, often serious subjects, whether they're caregiving, making sure you don't run out of your money for retirement, aging in place with quality and dignity, and how do you access a livable community. All those, they're sometimes serious subjects, but we got to have fun too, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, if people want to access the events, we're going to keep putting up the website, Nora, which is www.arp.org/CT events. And as I said, we're going to get right into those events in a moment, but just very briefly describe the registration process. So we'll have the website up. How does a viewer access the actual virtual events?
So for virtual events, we've got a registration process that's the same for virtual and for in person. But honestly, virtual events are online. So our registration process is online. You go to aarp.org/CT events. If you live somewhere else and you're hearing about this because you see it on YouTube, you can go to aarp.org/near me. So if you happen to catch this on YouTube and you live in Virginia, that's where it'll show up. But that event process is pretty clear once you reach that landing page. You'll see a list of events. They show up in chronological order. So sometimes we have a lot going on. It requires a lot of scrolling. But if you pay attention to the headlines, you're going to find some things that interest you. You're just going to click through and you're going to register like you do any other online event. You need to give us a little bit of personal information so we can contact you with the link to log in. Every event has a unique link. We've got to get it to you. So you need to provide us with your email address, your zip code. You need to say, yes, I agree to do that. And then voila, in your email, you'll find a registration. And depending on the kind of event it is, there might be attachments. Maybe we're having a clean cooking event, and in it is the ingredients that will be showcased in the demo, because we're promoting healthy lifestyles as part of our social mission that promotes brain health and a lifelong ability to stay healthy. And so maybe there's going to be the ingredients in there. Maybe there's going to be a link to the musical performance that you're going to go to. But it's really simple. I think at this point in this age, anybody who signed up for any event online is going to find it very intuitive.
And I can certainly vouch for that. I've signed up for many myself. And, we also, you're going to find from this link again, the AARP.org/CT events from time to time. We even offer tech trainings
Yep.
like Zoom 101 or Zoom Moderate or Zoom Advanced. So look for those as well. And Nora, what I love about the process too, you get a quick confirmation and then close to the event day of or close to that, you get a reminder. So no excuse for not knowing about it, once you register. But Nora, we're going to jump in right now to the various activities. We'll get to as many as we can. Can't get to all of them. So I'm going to just sort of throw them at you. And if you can give a brief description for our viewer, I always like to start with one of the most popular ones, and that's the Fraud Watch Network.
Yeah. So the AARP Fraud Watch Network is a national, there's a bunch of different ways it happens, but it's a multi media platform, we'll call it. But one of those mediums is the phone and a hotline. But our volunteers, and 90% of the time it's our volunteers, in conjunction oftentimes with some of our partner organizations, like the International Association of Financial Crimes Investigators, universities, the list goes on, the Connecticut Elder Justice Coalition. We bring to people the latest and the greatest information about the frauds and scams that are happening in your location, in the state, across the country, online, on the phone, in the mail, so that you can protect yourself and your loved ones from criminals who are trying to steal your identity or your hard-earned cash. And we try to keep it really interactive. There's some standard presentations that we can bring, sort of the, this is our in a box presentation to a community. So if a library invites us in, for instance, but we also generate our own information. So for instance, I'm going to say this and try not to mess it up. Fraud Fighting Fourth Fridays, which is an online virtual event that we bring in our partners from the Elder Justice Coalition to talk about different things, whether it's banking, whether it's elder exploitation, the list goes on and on. They come up with new ideas for every fourth Friday of the month, and people can log on and hear from experts. And it's really just a matter of, keeping yourself informed to stay safe.
Right. And anybody at any age that has used a cell phone, who's been on the web, knows that there's fraud out there. So, we talk, this is good for any age. Again, if you've just tuned in, let's go virtual with AARP Connecticut. We've got some exciting opportunities for you. www.aarp.org/CT events. Nora, this subject might be more in need than ever, job seeker events.
Yeah. So age 50 plus job seeker, what do you need to know? We have events we produce here in Connecticut. Our national team has events. Some of them include something as simple as online job seeking. Others talk about personal branding and LinkedIn and the many, many different things that you need to know and that change frequently in the job search. I mean, the pandemic changed the job search. The pandemic changed the world's the economy. So we try to keep up with that and offer tips and tools to people so they can put their best face forward, virtually or in person, and just understand what the marketplace looks like and what you have to know. I mean, there's probably a lot of people out there who haven't had to look for work in 30 years, and then came a pandemic and it changed the entire scenario. We've seen obviously disruptions in our economy before. They're going to continue. And this is a way to help people at no cost, really, get some tips. And then we offer other platforms they can transfer to, like aarp.org/work, where we have job boards and we have tips there. We have micro learnings and online job fairs. Just lets you make the initial introduction to us and then take your job search in the direction that's right for you.
I guarantee you will have takeaways from the job seeker events. I've attended many myself. Nora, just like you said, job seeker, all of a sudden it might be a more prescient issue given the world events. Caregiving, same thing, right?
Yeah, caregiving, that's a topic nobody really, nobody wants to find themselves struggling to navigate the world of caregiving, unpaid family caregiving for a loved one. But we have a team. Again, we have state folks who do this for us, volunteers and collaborators. And then we have national offerings. There's a hotline for that as well, aarp.org/caregiver. The issue is that it's a tough road to navigate. Sometimes you've been walking down that path for a really long time, and other times it just hits you. If your loved one was fine and then had a stroke and you found yourself saying, what? I mean, yesterday my life was normal. Today it's upside down. How do I manage through this? We have nicely packaged materials and resources for you to take away and come back to when you need it. As well as introductions to the many, many organizations that are here to help in Connecticut.
And Nora, I recommend to our viewer to watch that. We call it our Caregiver Roadshow is one of the names of it, to seek that out before a crisis, or hopefully it doesn't happen in your family, but seek it out before. I'm going to jump to, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, we have some materials called Prepare to Care.
Yes.
That the goal is to get you prepared before you find yourself in the crisis.
Exactly. Well said. Thanks for mentioning that. I'm going to jump to Virtual You, depending on when you're watching the program. It's something we have developed of late, but if you could briefly describe that, Nora. Exciting.
Sure. So we have university and college professors from all over Connecticut on topics of so many varieties, like snow leopards, cathedrals, genetics, criminology, the list goes on and on. If you can take a class on it in a college, we could probably offer it to you at this point. So we do these 1 hour, maybe 90 minutes if it's really something that needs it. For instance, we had Dr. Henry Lee in for a kickoff of a 6-part series on criminal investigations, and many people will know him from the large number of international cases he's worked on, but also his time here in Connecticut, working for the state of Connecticut, and then the Henry Lee School at the University of New Haven. So we can bring in people from all different levels of expertise. We offer at no cost to people this opportunity for lifelong learning. But the greatest thing is, bring your student, your traditional student aged person with you, because you don't have to even be a member for this stuff. And we found that people are really responding to the kind of thing you can do as a lunch and learn. If you're working, we try to offer them many times at around noon so that people can access them, but they're also at other times throughout the month. And then, we're planning these well out, an exciting lineup of folks on a variety of topics. I mean, it really is as vast as the catalog you can open up at a college and search for something that interests you. Think of it as your electives, right? When you're in college, it's not calculus, but the electives that you might choose to take when you get to that point where you're like, okay, I get to pick something I'm interested in. Oh, art history. Perfect.
Well, talk about fun with purpose. Those are for sure. And I want to remind our viewer, these are all public free events, like you said, Nora. Again, that website, www.aarp.org/CT events. You just mentioned snow leopards as one of the Virtual You offerings. So that makes me think of Mystic Seaport and the aquarium and the zoo, Wadsworth Athenaeum. Pick one or more. And if you can describe those opportunities as well.
Yeah, so our goal with our Fun with Purpose has always been to try to incorporate the great offerings our community has, our nonprofit world has, our cultural and arts world has here in Connecticut, because like I said, we all live in this community. So it's important for us at AARP Connecticut to be supportive of others in our community. So when, we have our in-person offerings and we have our virtual offerings, but we've found a way to bring those in-person offerings to a meaningful audience online. And it's really nice to be able to sit back, for instance, and take a virtual art gallery tour with a trained docent who's a volunteer at an organization like the Wadsworth Athenaeum Museum of Art in Hartford, or to go to maybe the Mystic Seaport Museum and learn about the maritime history here in Connecticut, and all these interesting boat building. I mean, things you just wouldn't encounter in your day-to-day life, but we're able to bring people in small, digestible, no cost options. And those are just some examples. I mean, I almost want to say the possibilities are endless. I mean, we've got something in the works with the Mark Twain House Museum, and we just are lucky to have such a rich cultural world here in Connecticut, and a history here. That's another thing for Virtual U. We've done Connecticut history. We just, as an example of what we wrapped up was a historian on a Black Civil War regiment from Connecticut. I mean, that's not something you get to hear about really often and get to ask questions of the person who is giving the seminar. And so that's nice that we can do questions with the docents, questions with the boat builder. We can, our animal husbandry, I'll call it for lack of a better word, but with our friends at the Mystic Aquarium and at Connecticut Beardsley Zoo. It's pretty fun to watch the tiger run around, and it's cool to have a little lunchtime interaction with the beluga whale.
And you're reminding me of penguins. So many people like penguins. I'll never
Yeah,
forget
and it's just really, I mean, for us, this lifelong learning and brain health, it's so important to stay connected, keep your brain going, thinking about different things, experiencing different things. We've been able to bring a lot of this through some grant opportunities to our colleagues in the senior center world through their collaboration to bring virtual senior centers to folks when they couldn't be out, but why not when they can also, because weather happens, right? Life happens. You don't necessarily have the ability to travel someplace, but you can certainly turn on your iPad. I mean, this is an opportunity for us, especially as people are more and more connected and have become more comfortable with tech, that we can bring lifelong learning opportunities to people who may not have otherwise had an opportunity to join us. And it's some mix and match so that we're in person, in community, and virtually online, so everyone has something for them.
Yeah, exactly, Nora. And again, today we're focusing on the virtual world. We're calling our program Let's Go Virtual with AARP Connecticut. And again, to access the events that Nora Duncan, State Director for the AARP Connecticut Nonprofit Office, is talking about, www.aarp.org/CT events. Nora, I like to think that we offer also sort of a holistic approach to what's out there. I love that we think about mind and body also, like a virtual wellness series. Certainly all of us have at times stress and anxiety in our life, body-mind connection. So we offer those kinds of things as well, correct?
Correct. And I think we'll continue in that vein. And as well, we've been able to offer some introductory yoga so people can get an idea of what they might expect with this mind-body connection, with staying healthy and well. And that exercise is one of the top, I think, 5 key aspects of brain health. It's all really important. And from the ability to take it in short bites, I like a lot too. I mean, Elaine, I'm really busy and I'm usually running with 1 minute to spare between virtual meetings. And I was doing that before in person meetings, and I will again. And I love the idea that I could just take an hour of my day rather than taking 4 hours to go to the same kind of event. So this access issue, I think, for the fun with purpose and for the virtual is so important. And I really look forward to how much we can delve into it in the future.
And we want to remind you to check our website frequently. We are adding new things all the time. Again, that's AARP.org/CT events. Show is Let's Go Virtual with AARP Connecticut. Nora, our national office also offers things.
Yes.
In addition, one of my favorites, of course, is movies for grownups. So if you can just touch on, though, in general, what the national office offers.
Yeah, so the national office has a similar purpose that we do, right? We're not in 2 different social missions, but they're able to leverage, their national scope to bring interesting films through our AARP Movies for Grownups program. They do their own university program. I may have borrowed the idea from them for virtual U with AARP Connecticut is based off of one day university with AARP, which it's not really a day. It's still a shorter program, but they also do the same thing. They bring in some of our brand ambassadors and experts that work with us on issues for women, Gen X and boomers. They bring in musical artists, they bring in all sorts of folks and, incorporate dance and fun and learning all in one nice tight package, their own fun with purpose events. As well, I should mention, Elaine, things like our Safe Driver program, for instance, has gone online, and there's really a lot there. And then there's short, tech kind of things that you were talking about that they're able to do, as well as, I feel like I still don't know anything about Medicare, and I've been working at AARP for over 8 years. So if you're about to go, you're new to Medicare, you want to learn what is coming up for your family member, we've got introductory courses on that, Social Security 101, a lot of things that are really just practical also that you can access online.
Yeah, the list goes on and on. Again, that website to go virtual with AARP Connecticut, arp.org/CT events. Nora, I want to thank you for sharing this plethora of activities that AARP Connecticut has to offer, leading the charge in Connecticut as the AARP Connecticut statewide director for advocacy and outreach. Thanks for all you do and leading our staff here and helping older Americans in all ages to have fun with purpose. Thanks for being here today, Nora.
Thank you, Elaine.
Okay, we'll see you again. And thank you for watching today. If you are a member of AARP, you're joining close to 600,000 members right here in the state of Connecticut. We thank you for that. We hope to see you again soon, right here virtually. And you can do that again by joining us at www.arp.org/CT events. You'll see a lot of our volunteers in action when you visit our virtual events. If you'd like to volunteer, call me, Elaine Werner, 860-548-3169. See you soon again in your local community and virtually, and thanks for watching.